think we left off on
12.1.
Yeah, this is the last one we finished, right?
I don't think we finished it, did we? Might have missed it.
Let me look.
We are on 13.1 is where we left off.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Okay. Oops. Peter, can you read this one? Peter, you there?
I can read.
Well, no, Peter just unmuted. I think maybe he's just getting ready. Oh, wait, where'd he go?
Yes, sir. Or you can draft it out by generic, by doing some sort of like automatic statement that comes out of the generic. That way I know I'm probably have that thing going out. And then I'll see out.
Yeah, I think he's on the phone or something. Okay. Moving on. Kevin, can you read?
Dimensions. The width and height method can be used to get and set the width and height of HTML elements. Let's set both the width and height of a div to 100 pixels, as well as set a background color for it. Run the code, see how it works.
Okay. So we start with this div. We've got no CSS whatsoever over here. So normally this would just be nothing. But then by using the selector to get the div and doing .css, setting the background color to red and the width and height, then we have the little square over here that wouldn't have existed otherwise. But in reality, unless you're using that as like something that, like, starting off, you would never do something just like this where you would just use jQuery to build you would just use CSS in reality. But if like some user interaction, like maybe they hover over something or click a button or type something or whatever, some sort of user interaction, then you wanted to, I don't know, have something pop up, then you could. All right, go ahead and answer the next question. Okay, fill in the blanks to set the height of a paragraph with the ID demo to 68 pixels. So our selector, our $, and then our selector dot height and set to 68. Pretty simple. Fabian, can you read this one?
Can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Dimensions. The width and height methods get and set the dimensions without the paddings, borders, and margins. The inner width and inner height methods also include the padding. The outer width, outer height method include the padding and borders. check out this image to understand how they work. The following example demonstrates how the methods work. HTML, CSS, JS. I'm actually reading your screen, so. Okay, run the code to see the value returned by the dimension methods.
Okay. So let me stretch this out. So this was just set to 300 with the height and everything. But this isn't actually changing anything. It's just getting the inner height and the width and everything. So you can see the regular width is 300, but then the inner width is 320 because they're doing dot inner width. So that's just to get it, not to set it. If we pass something in there, it'd be to set it. And getting the inner height, which you can see the regular height's 100, and it's 120 with the inner height because we've got margin here and padding. And the outer width is 326 and outer height is 126 because it's also including the border and everything. Any questions on that? Okay. Go ahead and answer the next question. Oh, and I mentioned margin when I was saying that, but no, margin is not included there. It's just out to the border. So the padding, the element, padding, and border is going to be your outer width. Inner width stops at your the beginning of your border. Inner width is just the element, or width is just the element. Okay. So what's the output of this code? So since we've got a width of 200 and then we add a padding of 5, and then we want to get the inner width. So we're asking what the inner width is by the dot inner width of the div. And since the padding's 5, it's going to be padding 5 on each side. So 210. Okay. Okay, so for this first one, it's just .css, color blue, and padding 5 pixels. Fill in the blanks to set the color and padding properties of the paragraph. So there you go. So go ahead and answer the next question. Okay, what is the value of the outer height for the paragraph of the following code? So we've got the height of 84, but margin it ignores, and our padding is 2. So wait, that doesn't make sense.
Why did it ignore the margin?
Oh, 84. That's right. And then so 2 and 2. So it ignores the margin because that's not part of outer height. So like if we go back to this picture, right here. So see, here's your outer width. It goes out to the end of the border, right? And it just ignores the margin because it's not part of outer width, right? Because margin is mostly like the space between your element and another element, right? The padding on the inside is the space between the border and your element, just like in regular CSS. And since they don't really care how much space you have between your element and another element's border, then the outer width just ignores that. So all that we really take into account with outer width is the edge of the border. The inner width is, the edge of the padding, and the width is the edge of the element. And same thing for height. It's just reverse. You know what I mean? So like the edge of it's just replacing the word height with width, or width with height. Does that make sense? Okay.
Are you essentially are you adding each element? Like we had 200 and then we had the padding was 5.
Right. So yeah, because there's padding on each side. So like, okay, the element width is 200, right? And I think the padding was 10, or what? No, the padding was 5. So it totals out to 210 because 205, then 210 for the other side. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Sort of. I was on that forever. I put 210 px. I didn't put 210.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first question for the one module 3 quiz. What is this CSS color and padding? Is it a capital C for color?
Nope. Just regular lowercase c.
Oh, we finished the quiz already? I think I missed something.
No, we didn't finish the quiz. I just went back to explain it. So we're totaling this up. So it starts at 84 for the height. So like we'll say this is our height, right? And then we've got padding of 2. So like 2 here and 2 here. So 84, 85, 86, and then 87, 88 is how we get that number. Okay, go ahead.
So it's only the height and the padding, is not the margin or the width.
Yeah, margin, it ignores margin. Well, if you're doing it the width, like if the question was width, and then we'd include the padding and the width and the border, the size of the border, in adding all that up. But we ignore margin, is long story short. Okay, so go ahead and answer the next question.
Dang, I got all these wrong.
Okay. When specifying multiple class names for the add class method, we need to separate them using spaces. All right. Oh, dang it. Well, here's this one. Fill in the blanks to create a new P element, set its height to 50 pixels, and add it before the element with ID test. So just our creating a variable to store E, and we're using our selector to select paragraphs, and we're going to get the text from the paragraph and set it to some text. And then we want E's height to be 50, and then we're getting test, and before it we are going to place E, which is all this stuff right here. All right, go ahead and answer the next question.
I think that was it.
There's no next question.
Oh, okay. Well, then moving on. Bill, can you read this one? Oh, you're muted, Bill. Oh, wait. It says you're not muted, but I just can't hear you. No, I can't hear you. All right, well, you try and get the mic figured out, and we'll move on for now to Jacob. Can you read this one?
The DOM. When you open any web page in a browser, the HTML of the page is loaded and rendered visually on the screen. To accomplish this, the browser builds the document object model DOM of that page, which is an object-oriented model of its logical structure. The DOM of an HTML document can be represented as a nested set of boxes. The DOM represents a document as a tree structure where HTML elements are interrelated nodes in the tree. Nodes can have child nodes. Nodes on the same tree level are called siblings. jQuery
Traversing.
is the term used to describe the process of moving through the DOM and finding, selecting HTML elements based on their relation to other elements. jQuery makes it easy to traverse the DOM and work with HTML elements.
So this is similar to when we were working with JavaScript, the DOM. So go ahead and answer the next question. What kind of structure does the DOM have? A tree. Patricia, can you read this one?
Yeah, DOM traversal. For example, consider the HTML represented by the following structure. The HTML element is a parent of body and an ancestor of everything below it. The body element is the parent of the H1 and A elements. The H1 and A elements are child elements of the body element and descendants of HTML. The H1 and A elements are siblings. They share the same parents. Summary: an ancestor is a parent, grandparent, great-grandparent, and so on. A descendant is a child, grandchild, great-grandchild, and so on. Siblings share the same parent. Understanding the relationship between the DOM elements is important to be able to traverse the DOM correctly.
So they make it pretty easy. It's just like real life with parent, children, siblings. So equal siblings, lower children, older parent. Pretty straightforward. Go ahead and answer the next question. All right, elements that share the same parent are called siblings.
Hey, did you call on me yet, Brandon?
Nope.
Okay, good.
Kevin, can you read this one?
DOM traversal. jQuery has many useful methods for DOM traversal. The parent method returns the direct parent element of the selected element. For example, the code above selects the parent element of the paragraph and sets a red border for it. Run the code to see it in action.
Okay. So right here, so just starting out, we've got our paragraph set to having a 1 pixel solid black border with 5 pixel padding. So again, the padding's on the inside. And so that's this one right here. But starting out, the div, all it had was padding, and we will go ahead and set a 2 pixel solid red border to the parent element. So any questions on that? Okay. Go ahead and answer the next question.
Can you hear me now, Brandon?
Oh, yep, it's working good. All right, you can do the next question. We can hear you.
I gotta try to catch up now.
Oh, okay. Well, just let me know when you're caught up then.
Okay.
All right, so which element is the parent of the paragraph element in the following HTML? Since paragraph is inside the list item tags, the list item is the parent. All right. Lewis, can you go ahead and read this one?
DOM traversal. The parent method can only traverse a single level up the DOM tree. To get all ancestors of the selected element, you can use the parents method. For example, the code above sets a red border for all parents of the paragraph. Some of the most used traversal method are presented below. Run the code and see how it works.
So they're not really parents, they're more grandparents and great grandparents and so on and so forth. But yeah, as you can see here, we've got the same thing. We just started out with the black border, and then just using this little bit of jQuery with our remember, this is our standard way of doing it. Instead of doing the document ready, it's just faster to do it this way. So once it's loaded, then it gets all the parents of that parents, grandparents, great grandparents, and sets it to a 2 pixel solid red border. And that includes the HTML, as you can see, because we've even got the body, and then it's going past the body and even going into HTML. So, all right.
Oh, so just by putting parents, it gets everything?
Yep, gets everybody, great grandparents, however many you got. So, all right. And then looking at these two, like, you can do the same thing with siblings, get all your siblings, children, all the children of it, and then just going, next or previous sibling, so the one closest to you or whatnot. All right. I don't know if I gave you time to, I don't think I gave you time, but whatever. Fill in the blanks to select all siblings of the div element and call the hide method on them. So var items, and we select the div and do dot siblings to get all the siblings. And we take that variable and we hide all the siblings. Okay. Peter, can you read this one?
Yeah, I'm caught up now.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll have you do the next one.
Can you,
Yeah.
can you go back one, can you go back real quick?
Yeah, yeah. So var siblings items.
Okay. Var. I'm looking var siblings. Oh, okay, now this is a little comment in there. Okay,
Okay.
good now.
I mean, could you read this one?
That's for me, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The DOM traversal. The EQ method can be used to select a specific element from multiple selected elements. For example, if the page contains multiple div elements and we want to select the third one, the index number start at 0. So the first element will have the index number 0.
Okay. So any questions on that? So we're going to get more specific, but not using IDs or whatever. So if we had divs, just imagine it being a list of all the divs. And so with a list, it starts with 0, then 1, 2, so on and so forth. All right, go ahead and answer the next question. Okay, what's the output of this code? So we've got our P element with A inside, another paragraph with a B, C, and then we run the script EQ1. So since the first one, and we want the text that's inside it, since the first one is 0, then the second one is going to be B. So even though it's a 1, that's 1 is the second one in programming numbers. All right. Michael East, could you read this one?
Remove elements. We remove selected elements from the DOM using the remove parentheses method. For example, this removes green, the second paragraph element. You can also use remove method on multiple selected elements. For example, $P removal removes all paragraphs. The jQuery remove method removes the selected elements as well as its child elements.
Okay, go ahead and answer the next question. All right, fill in the blanks to remove all siblings of the element with the ID text. So to get ID, do hashtag text, and then dot siblings to get all siblings. And then we've got this dot here, so it's adding on to this, and dot remove and gets rid of all the siblings. Will, can you read this one?
The empty method is used to remove the child element of the selected elements. For example, HTML, CSS, and jQuery This removes all three child elements of the div, leaving it empty.
Okay, so we'll run this. So it started out with, colors, red, green, and blue, and having the style actually set to the text color being the associated word. But then after doing div.empty, it got rid of all its children. So all we're left is the background of the div. All right, go ahead and answer the next question. Fill in the blanks to empty the second child element of the element with ID nav. So ID nav children. So we got that children, saved it into a variable E, but then we did EQ1, which is 0, 1. It's the second one, and we emptied it.
We did the other one. What was before that? This one. What was behind that one?
This one, you mean?
Yeah, removing elements. Oh, okay. Okay.
You got it?
You go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So how many siblings does the P element with the ID text have in the following HTML? So we've got P element with text, and it has this sibling and this sibling because they're all within the div. Now, they don't all have to be the same. They don't have to all be paragraphs. Like this could be another div and this could be a header or something, but they're just making it more straightforward by putting them all the same. All right, go ahead and answer the next question. Okay, fill in the blanks to select the first child of the div element. So $div for our selector, get all the children, and then we're selecting the first one, which is 0. All right, go ahead and answer the next one. Okay, drag and drop the options below to remove all children from the paragraph tag. So we've got our paragraph tag selected. We want children, and then we want to remove them. So we do dot remove. All right, do the next question. All right, what's the output of this code? So we've got our 2 divs with a paragraph inside one of the divs. We do alert paragraph parent. So the parent of it would be this div, and then we want siblings, and we want the first sibling's text. So there's only one other sibling. So this happens to be the sibling, and then dot text. So the text inside it is 2. All right, I think that's the last one. Yeah. Okay, David, can you read this one?
Handling of events. jQuery provides in a way just clicking and moving the mouse or submitting a form occurs on a target element. A handler function is executed. For example, let's say when we handle the
Hey,
click event of an element.
Pause right there. Your like mic's doing weird stuff, so I'm just gonna pass on you for now. It's all good. Brian A, can you read this one?
Handling events. jQuery provides an efficient way to handle events. Events occur when the user performs an action, such as clicking an element, moving the mouse, or submitting a form. When the event occurs on a target element, a handler function is executed. For example, let's say we want to handle the click event on an element with ID demo and display the current date when the button is clicked. Using pure JavaScript, the code looks like this. The same could be handled using jQuery with the following code. As you can see, the jQuery code is shorter and easier to read and write. Notice that the event name is provided without the on prefix. On click the JavaScript, click on the query. The function that is executed when the event is fired is called the event handler.
Okay, so you can see with JavaScript, remember we use on click. Well, here you just need click, and then it does this function when it's clicked of displaying the date. Okay, go ahead and answer the next question. Okay. So handling events, the event handler is a function. Yanni, can you read this one?
Common events. The following are the most commonly used events. Mouse events. Click occurs when an element is clicked. Double click occurs when an element is double clicked. Mouse enter occurs when the mouse pointer enters the selected element. Mouse leave occurs when the mouse pointer leaves the selected element. Mouse over occurs when the mouse pointer is over the selected element. Keyboard events. Key down occurs when a keyboard key is pressed down. Key up occurs when the keyboard key is released. Form events. Submit occurs when a form is submitted. Change occurs when the value of an element has been changed. Focus occurs when an element gets focused. Blur occurs when an element loses focus. Document events. Ready occurs when the DOM has been loaded. Resize occurs when the browser window changes size. Scroll occurs when the user scrolls in a specific element. As an example, let's change the content of a div when the user types in an input field. To do that, we need to handle the key down event, which occurs when a key on the keyboard is pressed. The code above handles the key down event for the elements with ID equal name. Assigns the content of the div with ID equals message, the value of the input field. The event names are self-explanatory, so just experiment to see them in action.
All right, so with this one, we've got a input tag, which is normally in a form tag, but whatever. And then when we type, it notices on our key down, and if you see, it doesn't have the last one. It waits till you've done the next one, and then it prints that one. But it's when you've on a key down function, then it takes this ID, it's doing the selector for message, it's getting the div, and it's changing the HTML inside the div to whatever is in name, the ID name, so the value inside name, because we do dot value right here. Any questions on that? And like I said, there's lots of other ones you could do. So like on click, double click, mouse over. So definitely useful. All right, go ahead. If there's no questions, then go ahead and answer the next question. Okay, so fill in the blanks to handle the click event on the paragraph tag. So our selector for the paragraph. Once it's clicked, we do this function. And as you can see, so like we've got our bracket here, and then our closing bracket here, and then our curly brackets here or whatnot. So then inside, it's just going to alert clicked once the paragraph is clicked. Okay. Tim, can you read this one?
Yes, hi. Handling events. Another way to handle events in jQuery is by using the on method. The on method is used to attach an event to the selected element. For example, jQuery, key function, click function, try yourself. As you can see, the event name is passed as the first argument to the on method. The second argument is the handler function. The on method is useful for binding the same handler function to multiple events. You can provide multiple event names separated by set spaces as the first argument. For example, you could use the same event handler for the click and double click events.
Okay, so just like with JavaScript, how they do on click, so it's like on, and then you're specifying it here. So, all right, go ahead and answer the next question. I guess I should have specified too. So like here, if you wanted to do, the difference is if you want to do multiple, and here you could do double click here with just a space in between, and then you do, you know, more if you wanted. So, all right. So
$sign on and submit.
good. Yeah, fill in the blanks to handle the submit event for the form element using the on method. So our $, so our selector, we're selecting form and we're saying on submit, do this function right here. Okay.
That was an easy one.
Well, good.
The other ones are different. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see who. Okay, I think everybody's gone, so we'll restart. Fabian, can you read this one?
Yeah, can you hear me? Oh, you can remove event handlers using the off method. For example, the argument of the off method is the event name you want to remove the handler for.
Okay, so instead of having on click, we're basically turning it off. So we're clicking and nothing's happening because we've got, you know, on this for on ready. Once everything loads, then it starts off by turning the, you know, div on click, do this stuff, but then we like change our mind and we're like, nope, turn that off, make that not work anymore. So, okay. So go ahead and answer the next question. Okay, fill in the blanks to remove the event handler for the focus event on the element with ID test. So ID hashtag test, we're turning off the focus. So like you can see how that would be useful if you you set your input box to like to be focused. So like as soon as the screen comes on, you focus right to that input field so they can start typing right away. But then, you know, as they're doing stuff, you know, let's say you have it refresh or whatnot, but you don't want it to focus anymore. So then you turn off the focus. So yeah, that's just an example of using off. And it's 5 minutes early, but that is a good place to stop. So let's see, we just ended here, right? Hold on. No.
No, we just finished 19.1.
Hold on. Oh, never mind. We'll just keep going then, since, yeah. Okay. Kevin, can you read this one?
The event object. Every event handling function can receive an event object, which contains properties and methods related to the event. Page X, page Y, the mouse position, X and Y coordinates at the time the event occurred relative to the top left of the page. Type, the type of the element, example, click. Which, the button or key that was pressed. Data, any data that was passed in when the event has bound. Target, the document object model element that initiated the event. Prevent default, prevent the default action of the event following a link. Stop propagation, stop the event from bubbling up to other elements. You can check out our JavaScript course for more information on event properties. For example, let's handle the click event on a link element and prevent it from following the link provided in the href attribute. The code above alerts the mouse position at the time of the click and prevents following the link. As you can see, the event object is passed to the event handler function as an argument.
So prevent default of, I think, of all these is used the most. So like, let's say you're using JavaScript or jQuery to submit a form, right? But then you want it to do stuff with the data before it submits. So like the user's typed in a bunch of text or whatnot, but when they click the submit button, you don't want it to submit right away. So you do prevent default so it doesn't submit the form, and then you use your jQuery or JavaScript to manipulate the data and then send the form. And you send it manually by then calling the submit action yourself. So that's just one example of prevent default. So, okay, go ahead and answer the next question. Fill in the blanks to handle the key down event on the input fields and alert which key was pressed. So selector selecting input, and then basically on key down, so just key down, we're going to do this function and alert which key was pressed when they did key down. Okay. Jacob, can you read this one?
Trigger events. We can also trigger events programmatically using the trigger method. For example, you could trigger a click event without the user actually clicking on an element. This code triggers the element, triggers the click event for the selected element. The trigger method cannot be used to mimic native browser event such as clicking on a file input box or an anchor tag. Only events in the jQuery event system can be handled.
So basically you can't like say, have it be supposed to be like downloading something and then like you click like, yeah, I approve that. That's cool. So that like you can plant a virus or something. But you can't but a good example would be like what I was just talking about earlier with you do prevent default on the form. Well, actually you wouldn't do that. You would just do submit. But you could do with something else and just trigger a click event. But yeah. All right, go ahead and answer the next question. Okay. Fill in the blanks to trigger the submit event on selected elements, form.trigger submit. So you wouldn't do a click, you would do submit. Well, so this is what I was talking about with the form submit. Okay, so we will stop there. So we'll start on 21 tomorrow. And I'm going to log out and log back in. I will be right back.